Welcome to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, February 11th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody is doing well today. It's been a very busy day, and day three of the second Donald Trump impeachment trial taking place in the U.S. Senate. So we know a lot of people watched that today. I posted about it on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. So we'll do a brief recap of what took place today. We know the impeachment managers, the House Democrats, rested their case today and argue that Donald Trump could stoke more violence if not convicted in the U.S. Senate. Now, they had a brilliant presentation today, provided a lot of evidence, really laid out a timeline of what took place, and strongly made the case that Donald Trump is largely responsible for the insurrection that took place January 6th. However, you have a lot of spineless Republicans in the U.S. Senate who are trying to make the claim that it's unconstitutional to have this impeachment trial, which is not correct because the U.S. Senate has control over all impeachments, and the U.S. Senate voted that it is constitutional. One, two, the articles the one article of impeachment dealing with inciting an insurrection was voted on in the House of Representatives while Donald Trump was a sitting president. And it was Senator Mitch McConnell, who was at the time the Senate Majority Leader, who said the earliest the Senate would take up the impeachment trial would be January 19th, the day before the inauguration. Okay, so this is definitely constitutional if they want to talk about the Constitution. So we'll do a recap of what took place there. Then. A couple of days ago, I talked about a story. News1.com and Associated Press had an article. Republican proposed bills want to prevent teaching students about injustice, prevent teaching about students about racism and oppression. There's a article from February 10th, 2011 from the USA Today that talks about five states: Arkansas, Iowa, Mississippi, Missouri, and South Dakota. Arkansas, Iowa, Mississippi, Missouri, and South Dakota. And Republican lawmakers in those five states want to punish schools that teach the 1619 Project, teach from the 1619 Project from the New York Times. Okay, so we'll talk some about that as well. And this ties into directly right into the month of February and African American History Month, and understanding why the history of African Americans needs to be taught, and also why the history of slavery needs to be taught and correctly taught also. All right, then we get some news in the George Floyd case, right? So we found out today that Attorney General William Barr, former Attorney General William Barr, squashed a plea deal by fired Officer Derek Chauvin, who was the man who had his knee on George Floyd's neck for almost 9 minutes. Attorney General William Barr rejected a plea deal from fired Officer Derek Chauvin in the George Floyd death. Okay, NBC News has an article about this, and News1.com has one also. And then we find out that jail guards at the jail where Derek Chauvin is being housed, jail guards segregated away from George Floyd's accused murderer sue for racial discrimination. Okay, so we'll discuss that. And then we'll talk some more about Dr. Carter G. Woodson. We talked about him a little bit on Wednesday's show, February 7th, 1926. February 7th, 1926. Dr. Carter G. Woodson launched Negro History Week, the second week of February, was Negro History Week, and Dr. Carter G. Woodson co-founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, September 9th, 1915, in Chicago. All right. And Negro History Week was designed to be a time when school children showed what they had been studying year round. Okay, it was never designed to be the only time that we study or celebrate our history. It's never designed to be the only time that our school children learn about their history. It was actually designed to be a time when school children showed what they had been learning all year. So a lot of this stuff we just have totally backwards. Okay, a lot of this we just have totally backwards. This is why our history is so important. The people's history and culture teaches them how to deal with the problems of the past in the present and the future to meet the needs of the community. And one of my teachers, Dr. Linda Jeffries, talks about the pyramid principle, as well as Professor James Small. And the foundation of the pyramid is African history and culture. This gives us our values, our interests, and our principles, our VIPs. This gives us a cultural paradigm to see reality through, and this influences our economic empowerment and our political empowerment also. So we have to have a synthesis of all three of them: the African history and culture, the economic empowerment, and the political empowerment. All right. So my online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'an for Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, meets on Tuesdays. It's going to meet Tuesday, February 16th, 2021, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an 8-week online course. We deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. So you can watch from around the world. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Right on the homepage, you'll see the information. Click on register here. As soon as you register, you can start watching bonus content. And we do 1,000 years of history. It's regularly $130, on sale $80. For our class Tuesday, February 16th, our special guest is going to be Sister Nubia Wartford. Sister Nubia Wartford. Now, you've heard her here on the African History Network show before. She's a cultural anthropologist, and she does archaeological digs in the Sudan. And we're going to talk about the African queens of antiquity, and we'll talk about some of the archaeological digs that she's done in the Sudan. And we know there are twice as many pyramids in the Sudan as there are in Egypt. The lower portion of Egypt and the upper portion of the Sudan, historically, that area was Nubia or Ta-Nehesi. And we know that Nubia, which is a Greek word, or Ta-Nehesi, is the mother of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. And we know the grandmother is Abyssinia or Ethiopia. So we're going to talk some about that on our Tuesday class. And we meet for 8 consecutive Tuesdays. All the sessions we do the sessions live, but they're all recorded. Okay, so you can join us live. They're all recorded. You can go back and watch them and over again, watch them on demand. Okay, so you don't have to be present in class to attend. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Information is right on the homepage, and you can register there. Okay. All right. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So we can control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts. You can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, we sent one out today. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you can sign up right there as well. If you have signed up for our email newsletter, check your spam folders. Check your spam folders. It's coming from customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. A lot of times it goes to people's spam folders. Check your spam folders. Mark it as not junk mail, so that it won't go to your junk mail folder. All right. If you like this type of information, also you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. So that helps us to keep broadcasting 6 days a week, keep doing the research and stay on the air. All right, we're coming up on a break. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. I watched the impeachment trial today. Once again, very impressed. I mean, they really have an airtight case. You're just dealing with some traitorous Republicans, to tell you the truth, some cowards and some traitorous Republicans who will most likely vote to acquit Donald Trump. Now, House Democrats are focused on former President Donald Trump's lack of remorse for the January 6th Capitol riot. He's accused of inciting. They did this on day 3 of the Senate impeachment trial as they put the finishing touches on their case. Quote, President Trump not only failed to show remorse or take accountability, he made clear this was just the beginning, said Representative Ted Lieu of California, one of the impeachment managers. Now, Representative Ted Lieu, a former prosecutor, pointed to Donald Trump's remarks days after the riot in which he expressed no regret. He expressed no regret and took no responsibility, and characterized his incendiary speech to supporters on January 6th as, quote unquote, totally appropriate. Totally appropriate. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. Okay, how's everybody doing today? Stand by, everybody. Share this broadcasting on social media platforms. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we have Greg. How you doing, Greg Osborne? We have Shella, TC Cook, Sherwin. Just a few of the people watching. Okay, we're on commercial break. We'll be back in 3 minutes. So everybody stand by. Got Robert. How you doing, Robert? Okay. All right, stand by. I have to get ready for this next segment here. Okay, so we've got... Okay, let's get ready for this. So, did you all watch the impeachment trial today? Any of it? Okay. Oh man, it's been a busy day. Stand by, everybody. Okay, we have Renee. Okay, who still needs to register for my online course? As soon as you register, you can watch the class from this past Tuesday, February 9th, and then you'll be ready for our February 16th class. Class 1 was February 9th, so you haven't missed much. It's all archived. Class 2 is February 16th, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's see, we're going to post a link here. Who still needs to register? Well, you don't have to watch TV. You can, Robert said I didn't watch any of it today on TV. You didn't watch any of it today. Now, we posted it on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, from NBC News. So you can go watch it there from NBC News also. Okay, we got James, Fly Girl. How you doing? Yes, saw the trial. You saw the trial, Fly Girl. Okay. Now, who still needs to register for my 8-week online course? Okay, Renee, good evening. Lock his A double up. Well, this is the impeachment trial is not a criminal trial. It's not a criminal trial. So regardless of what happens, they can't be locked up because of the impeachment trial. Now, criminal charges can be filed, like you have the Fulton County DA in Georgia, the sister in Georgia, who is filing criminal charges. And that's regarding the 1 hour and 2 minute call with Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and trying to pressure Brad Raffensperger to find 11,780 votes. Okay. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation of Future Radio. Here I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, February 11th, 2021, and we're live. Hope everybody's doing well. So we know Valentine's Day is coming up for those who celebrate Valentine's Day. And so we know a lot of people will be going out this weekend. Even if you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, you know, people are going to be with somebody special and one they love or something like that. So definitely understand that. We may do, I think maybe this Sunday, I've dealt with like the history of Valentine's Day. We'll maybe do that probably this Sunday on the Sunday show because we're off on Saturday. All right. Hopefully I'll be busy Saturday. So, but Sunday show, we'll probably deal with the history of Valentine's Day. Okay. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. So right before the break, we were talking about the third day of the Senate impeachment trial, of the second trial of one Donald John Trump. Democrats rested their case today. We're going to go to clip one here in just a minute, Shakita. So Representative Ted Lieu pointed out Donald Trump's remarks days after the riot, in which Trump expressed no regret and took no responsibility, and characterized his incendiary speech to supporters on January 6th as totally appropriate. Kind of like he said about the call to Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine. It was a perfect call. Now, Representative Ted Lieu of California said, quote, "It doesn't take a prosecutor to understand that President Trump was not showing remorse. He was showing defiance." Not showing remorse, he was showing defiance. Now, the House prosecutors also presented evidence the rioters believed they were following Trump's orders, okay, because they were. Representative Diane DeJette, another impeachment manager, quoted one rioter who said on a live stream from inside the Capitol building, the U.S. Capitol building, quote, "Our president wants us here. We wait and take orders from our president." Okay. Now you have to sit back and wonder, how dumb do these people have to be to listen to this con man fraud? And this is an example where you don't understand history and law and the Constitution. But you just sit back and look, and this is how dumb are these people? You know, and now a lot of them are going to be prosecuted, get cases. Hopefully they'll go to prison. And they're following this con man who doesn't care about them. Now, the Democrats are expected to wind down their they wound down their case today after they showed harrowing, never before seen surveillance video on Wednesday, the second day of the trial, from inside the U.S. Capitol during the attack. The footage included the moment when the rioters first broke inside the Capitol building, as well as the first images of then Vice President Mike Pence and his family being escorted out of the Senate chamber by the Secret Service as rioters outside chanted, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence." Now, let me just explain this to people, because a lot of people are saying, hey, if they had gotten their hands on Mike Pence, you know, they would have hung him. First of all, they weren't going to get very close to Mike Pence because he's surrounded by Secret Service, one. Two, the vice president always travels with a counter-terrorism assault team. A counter-terrorism assault team. They've got more than just handguns. Malcolm Nance has talked about this, okay? Counterterrorism expert Malcolm Nance. He's talked about this. He said when Mike Pence was there in the U.S. Capitol building. He didn't just have Secret Service with him. He had a counter-terrorism assault team with him also that the current vice president always travels with. So they may have thought they were going to put their hands on Mike Pence. It would have been a lot of them dead if they did that. I'm telling you right now, it would have been a lot of them dead if they did that. You know, it is what it is, but that's what happened. They may have tried, but oh no, they ain't playing. Okay, Secret Service and the counterterrorism assault team, they're not playing. All right, so so you have that taking place, and President Joe Biden told reporters today that he did not watch any of the hearing, but caught some of the coverage. Biden said, quote, "My guess is some minds may have been changed," end quote, in the Senate after seeing the new ride video, quote, "but I don't know," end quote, he said. Okay. Now, Trump's legal team is expected to use just 1 day for their arguments. It's not expected they're going to use all 16 hours either. They don't have enough. They're not going to use all that time. And wrap up their presentation by Friday evening, it's expected. Okay, so I want to go to this first clip here. This is from NBC Nightly News. House Democrats wrap up their case in Trump impeachment trial. Let's go to this clip, Shakita.
Impeachable conduct, not this. House Democrats hammering home their case against former President Trump.
The attack was done for Donald Trump, at his instructions, and to fulfill his wishes.
Using the words of those in the mob as evidence that Mr. Trump incited them.
President Trump requested that we be in D.C. on the 6th. So this was our way of going and stopping this deal.
One rioter in a live stream at the Capitol said, quote, "She'll be happy. We're fighting for Trump."
Let's call Trump, yes! Dude, let's tell Trump what's up. Trump would be very upset. He'd be like, no, just say we love him. We love you, bro. No, he'll be happy. What do you mean? We're fighting for Trump. Democrats arguing the former president's most extreme supporters took their cues from him.
They said what Donald Trump said, and they echoed each other. Stand back and stand by. Stop the steal. Fight like hell. Trump sent us. We are listening to Trump.
All culminating, they say, in these comments at the rally before last month's riot.
We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
And here's the thing, that wasn't metaphorical. It wasn't rhetorical. He'd already made it perfectly clear that when he said fight, he meant it.
Later, Democrats accusing Mr. Trump of a lack of remorse.
When you or I make a mistake and something very bad happens, we would show remorse. We would accept responsibility. President Trump didn't do any of that.
Replaying this clip from days after the violent siege.
My speech and my words and my final paragraph, my final sentence, and everybody to the T thought it was totally appropriate.
He knew the people that died. And his message to all of us was that his conduct was totally appropriate.
Their presentation peppered with video from Charlottesville and Mr. Trump's endorsement of violence at campaign rallies.
January 6th was not some unexpected radical break from his normal law-abiding and peaceful disposition. This was his state of mind. This was his essential MO.
Democrats trying to persuade Senate Republicans that he should become the first former president barred from holding future office.
We humbly ask you to convict President Trump for the crime for which he is overwhelmingly guilty of. If we let it go unanswered, who's to say it won't happen again?
All of it as Mr. Trump's legal team prepares for its rebuttal tomorrow. NBC News spotting the former president at his Florida golf course during today's proceedings. His lawyers under pressure amid critical reviews from Republicans after their first presentation.
now hoping to wrap up their case in a single day.
There's no reason for us to be out there a long time. It should be as short as possible, given the complete lack of evidence and the harm that this is causing to the American people.
But even before Mr. Trump's defense begins, some Republicans insist the votes will not be there to convict.
It's totally unconstitutional, and it is incredibly selfish on the part of the Democrats who are pursuing their own personal political vendettas here. You know, they need to take seriously their oath of office and start focusing on the American people.
And tonight, one of the former president's defense lawyers is arguing that the Democrats failed to tie the violence to Mr. Trump. His team goes tomorrow, and at this pace, there could be a verdict before the end of the weekend.
Okay. So you have a lot of Republican senators in denial, and they're scared. They're probably getting death threats. But I mean, join the crowd. I mean, Democrats get death threats if, you know, you let contact Capitol Police, contact the FBI, get some protection, but do your job or resign from office. Okay. So, all right. So we'll see what happens with Trump's defense team. All right, now, impeachment manager Jamie Raskin, in his presentation today, he talked about Governor Gretchen Whitmer. We're going to go to clip 2 here, Shakita. He talked about Governor Gretchen Whitmer and the attacks on Governor Gretchen Whitmer, what took place here at the state's capitol here in Michigan. Jamie Raskin compares Trump's comments on protests in Michigan to the Capitol riot. All right, let's go to this second clip.
We have a right. Let us in.
Hey, stop it right there. Stop it right there. Shakita, stop it right there. Do me a favor. Start that clip from the beginning and stop it at 1 minute 40 seconds. Start that second clip from the beginning. Okay, so Representative Jamie Raskin compared protests that occurred in Michigan over COVID-19 restrictions and a plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer to the events of the Capitol riot, pointing out how former President Trump tweeted about the situation. Let's go to this clip from the beginning. Okay, we're waiting for that to start playing. This is so this took place today.
Trump
Go ahead.
Demonstrated his willingness and his ability to incite violence against government officials who he thought were getting in his way. When responding to extremist plots in Michigan, Trump showed he knew how to use the power of a mob to advance his political objectives. Beginning in March, Trump leveled attacks on Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer for the coronavirus policies in her state. On March 17th, the day after Governor Whitmer pushed the federal government to better support the states on COVID-19, Trump criticized her handling of the pandemic, tweeting, "Failing Michigan governor must work harder and be much more proactive. We are pushing her to get the job done. I stand with Michigan." March 27th, he added, "I love Michigan. One of the reasons we're doing such a great job for them during this horrible pandemic. Yet your governor, Gretchen Whitmer, is way in over her head. She doesn't have a clue, likes blaming everyone for her own ineptitude. Hashtag MAGA." By April, Trump's rhetorical attacks and name-calling turned to calls for mass mobilization of his supporters. This was a sign of things to come. On April 17th, 2020, he tweeted, quote, "Liberate Michigan." Not even 2 weeks later, on April 30th, his supporters marched on the Michigan State Capitol in Lansing. They stormed the building. Trump's marching orders were followed by aggressive action on the ground.
All right, pause it right there. Okay, just advance to 2 minutes and 23 seconds in. Okay, so what Representative Jamie Raskin is showing is connecting the protest that took place at the state capitol here in Michigan, up in Lansing, tweets from Donald Trump encouraging those protests, okay, and open up Michigan, and then telling Governor Gretchen Whitmer to negotiate with the terrorists. Basically, that's what they were. Negotiate with the terrorists up in Michigan. And they had grievances over COVID restrictions and things like that because she's trying to reduce the spread of COVID and save people's lives. Donald Trump was encouraging these many of them white supremacists, maybe not all of them, but many of them white supremacists, and telling her to negotiate with them. Okay, so Representative Jamie Raskin is showing the connection between that and them showing up with guns. And he's talking about the different rallies and then connecting that. And then he also talks about the 13 domestic terrorists who are arrested in a plot to kidnap and possibly kill Governor Gretchen Whitmer and other statewide elected officials here in the state of Michigan. Let's go to that second part of that clip.
This video shows these militant protesters showed up ready to take a violent stand. They came armed and tightly packed themselves in the building with no regard, of course, for social distancing. This Trump-inspired mob may indeed look familiar to you. Confederate battle flags, MAGA hats, weapons, camo army gear, just like the insurrectionists who showed up and invaded this chamber on January 6th. The siege of the Michigan State House was effectively a state-level dress rehearsal for the siege of the U.S. Capitol that Trump incited on January 6th. It was a preview of the coming insurrection. President Trump's response to these two events was strikingly similar. Following the armed siege in Lansing, President Trump refused to condemn the attacks on the Michigan Capitol or denounce the violent lawbreakers. Instead, he did just the opposite. He upheld the righteousness of his violent followers' cause, and he put pressure on the victim of the attack to listen to his supporters. The day after the mob attack in Lansing, Trump told Governor Whitmer to negotiate with the extremists, tweeting that the governor should just, quote, give a little to the violent men who had stormed the Capitol, threatening not only the stability of the Michigan government, but her own life. As you can see, he tweeted, the governor of Michigan should give a little and put out the fire. These are very good people, but they are angry. They want their lives back again safely. See them, talk to them, make a deal. The president says heavily armed extremists carrying Confederate battle flags and pushing past police to overtake the Michigan State House chamber are very good people and just negotiate with them. It's clear he doesn't think that they're at fault in any way at all. But April 30th wasn't the only time Trump supporters stormed the Michigan Capitol. Emboldened by his praise and his encouragement and support, they escalated again. Governor Whitmer refused to capitulate to the president's demand to negotiate with them. 2 weeks later, on May 14th, Trump's mob again stormed the state capitol. This time, as you can see here, one man brought a doll with a noose around the neck, foreshadowing the appearance of the large gallows erected outside of this building, downstairs from here on January 6th, as the crowd chanted, and I still can hear the words ringing in my ear, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence. Over the coming months, even after a crowd threatening Governor Whitmer stormed the Capitol, Trump continued to assail her in public. At a rally in Michigan on September 10th, Trump whipped up the crowd against Governor Whitmer, saying, quote, she doesn't have a clue about reopening her own state's economy. The crowd cheered. Then, on October 8th, the precise consequences of the president's incitement to violence were revealed to the whole world. Look at this. 13 men were arrested by the FBI for plotting to storm the Michigan State Capitol building, launch a civil war, kidnap Governor Whitmer, transport her to Wisconsin, and then try and execute her. This was an assassination conspiracy, kidnapping conspiracy. Look at the language that they used. In the charging document, the FBI reported that one of the conspirators said he needed, quote, 200 men to storm the Capitol building and take political hostages, including the governor. The suspect called it a snatch and grab, man. Grab the effing governor. One of those men has already pled guilty to this conspiracy. The plot was well organized, just like the one that was coming on January the 6th. The men in Michigan even considered building Molotov cocktails to disarm police vehicles and attempted to construct their own IEDs, something that actually happened here on January 6th. Police authorities arrested extremists who had weapons and materials to build explosive devices, including one man found with an assault rifle and enough materials to make 11 Molotov cocktails.
All right, pause it right there.
On September 17th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. Okay, check out that full segment because there's more to it. That's at NBCnews.com. We're going to post a link here on the thread of the broadcast. Raskin compares Trump's comments on protests in Michigan to the Capitol riot. Okay, what took place in Michigan was a foretold what was coming January 6th, 2021. Okay, so check out that clip from NBC News. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Dave, line 1. Dave, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm calling from Norfolk. How you doing, Mike?
All right, how's it going? Norfolk, Virginia?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir. You know.
All right. Yeah, I'm all right. Go ahead. Go ahead with your question or comment. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about the January 6th riot, really the insurrection. I heard early on that there were other outside people, outside groups that paid for a lot of the chartered buses to come to the insurrection. I heard two people come to mind. Number one is Virginia Thomas, Clarence Thomas's wife.
Yeah.
And the other one was the guy from Turning Point USA. I think his name is Kirk.
Charlie Kirk. Yeah, Turning Point USA.
Kirk.
And then also
on trial, and while they're not being tried as accessories to the crime.
Well, we don't know that they won't be. There's 450 open investigations. We don't know that they won't be. There are 450 open investigations right now. There's about 150 people already been prosecuted. So we don't know. We don't know that they won't. We don't know that they won't be.
Okay, well, open investigations. One of the things about that you got to study. This we know happened. We know they chartered the buses.
Right.
So they brought the people there, and the people rioted. So what the investigation?
Well, you have to tie the riot to, I mean, just because they chartered buses doesn't mean the people on the bus actually rioted or were involved in that. They chartered buses. Well, just a second, Dave, just a second. They chartered buses. There was a rally first at the White House, then the people went to the U.S. Capitol building. So it doesn't mean
the march was stop the steal.
No.
You're not going to go in there and invade the Senate.
Dave, I'm asking you just a minute. I'm asking you a question. The rally at the White House was legal. The insurrection at the U.S. Capitol building was not. So the rally at the White House, you can have a bus go to the White House for the rally. That's fine. There was two things that took place. There was the rally at the White House, then the insurrection at the Capitol building. So you have 450 investigations right now, and they're going to be more. You already had, I think, about 150 people already charged. There are going to be a lot more charges. All right, go to your next question.
I see you. Yeah, hello?
I'm here. I said go to your next question.
Yeah, my next question is about the commission coming up. I think there's going to be hearings on reparations with the CVC in the caucus.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. I I think Roland interviewed Sheila Jackson Lee today. I missed it. I heard it was coming up, but I don't have details on it just as of yet. But go ahead.
I would like to get your opinion on who you would like to see on the executive branch, the presidential commission. If he gets his own reparation commission, who would you like to see on the commission? 2 or 3 people you can name that you'd like to see on the commission.
Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Ray Winbush.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Dr. Ray Winbush, just to name just 2. Maybe Dr. Claude Anderson if he's up to it. He's 85 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, so if he's up to it, then you have you need some legal scholars also. Or you have an economist. You need some legal scholars on there as well. You need political scientists, historians, and legal scholars.
Okay, I have a few you'd like to hear. John Rogers from Ariel Capital Management.
Okay, I'm familiar with John Rogers.
Jonathan Luther Jackson, Jesse Jackson's son. I think he's a University of Chicago grad.
Well, he's a professor. He's a professor. I think he teaches political science.
Yeah.
I think he teaches political science.
John Boyd, the farmer, the one that got the farmer settlement.
Well, yeah, he's the president of the Black Farmers Union, I think it is, or Association. John Wesley Boyd Jr.
Yep. Judge Janice Mathis, the National League of Negro Women.
You said Judge Mathis?
Janice, her name was Janice Mathis, right? Yeah.
Who? Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with who you're talking about.
She's the head of the League of Negro Women in D.C.
Okay.
Yeah, I think her name is Janice Mathis.
Okay. I've probably seen it before. It doesn't ring a bell, but okay, man. We got like 5 minutes left in the show, Dave. Man, call me back Sunday night. I had 2 hours Sunday night, okay? Call me back Sunday night, okay? All right. Thanks for calling. Or call back tomorrow night, Dave. Okay. We gotta wrap this show up. All right. Okay, so let me try to squeeze in these other topics quickly here. Next, we the past couple days, 2 or 3 days, I've been dealing with these stories dealing with how Republicans are trying to pass bills in state legislatures that limit what teachers in schools can teach about racism, oppression, and injustice. We see the article from newsone.com. Republican proposed bills want to prevent teaching students about injustice. That's from February 5th, 2021. And then also Associated Press, GOP states weigh limits on how race and slavery are taught. There's an article, and that one from the Associated Press is from February 3rd, 2021. There's one from USA Today from February 10th, 2021, okay? Because I'm seeing more stories about this. This also ties into in state legislatures, like in the Georgia state legislature, a total of 106 bills in about 28 state legislatures that are trying to make it harder for people to vote, and they're targeting mail-in voting, early voting, things like this. All right. But quickly here, if we look at this article here, Republican state lawmakers want to punish schools that teach the 1619 project. So once again, there's an attack on the 1619 project. And then we see there's an effort that some of these states want to teach from the 1776 project, which is a project that Donald Trump commissioned. The 1776 project is an attack in response to the 1619 project from the New York Times, and it distorts the history of slavery. Joe Biden took the report off of whitehouse.gov and disbanded the commission that Donald Trump organized. Okay. Now, lawmakers in several state houses this year want to stop lesson plans that focus on the centrality of slavery to American history as presented in the New York Times 1619 Project, previewing new battles in states over control of civics education. Republican lawmakers in Arkansas, Iowa, Mississippi, Missouri, and South Dakota, Arkansas, Iowa, Mississippi, Missouri, and South Dakota filed bills last month, January 2021, that, if enacted, would cut funding to K through 12 schools and colleges that provide lessons derived from the award-winning project, the 1619 Project. Even though there are some flaws in it, in the 1619 Project, there's still some good things in it that can be used. The South Dakota bill has since been withdrawn. Now, some historians say the bills are part of a larger effort. Some historians say the bills are part of a larger effort by Republicans, including former President Donald Trump, to glorify a more white and patriarchal view of American history that downplays the ugly legacy of slavery and the contributions of Black people, Native Americans, women, and others to the nation's founding. Now, political battles have long been fought largely in education boards over how American students learn about everything from the U.S. Civil War to ethnic studies and health. Remember, politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. This ties into what's taught in schools, ties directly into the fight for reparations. Because when you go to the government and you go to elected officials to try to get your issues and needs met that are the result of laws and policies, the policies and votes that they take largely depend upon their understanding of history. Unfortunately, many people in both the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate are both grossly ignorant of history, but that is reflective of the overall Americans who are also largely ignorant of history. That's why this study here that you hear me talk about a lot from the Southern Poverty Law Center is so important, Teaching Hard History American Slavery, which documents how the history of slavery is being incorrectly taught in schools across the country and better ways to teach that history. Okay, all of this is connected. All right, now we're out of time here on 910 AM Superstation WFDF. We're going to continue for a few more minutes, just a few more minutes, because I've got to get out of here. Be sure to register for my online course. It's on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa. Understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So we'll be in class Tuesday, February 16th, 2021, 8 p.m. And all the sessions, we do them live. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch it over and over again if you miss any of it or can't attend. And also, you can register at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Class is regularly $130 on sale, $80. There's bonus content, and I'm adding more bonus content for you to watch also. Okay. Remember, right now it's correct. Wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Stay tuned for Pat. Who do we have? Pastor Greg. Who's up next? Whoever is up next. I think it's the best of Reverend Al Sharpton is up next. Okay, or Pastor Greg Davis. Who's up next, Shakita? Whoever's up next is up next. Okay. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace. Okay. Stand by, everybody. Okay. We're going to continue for a few more minutes here. And then when you go to our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, because I can't remember who's up next on the radio station now. I keep changing the schedule. When you go to our website, let's see here. Right at the top, then scroll down, information about the radio show. Click here to read my articles, information about the class here. Okay, Tuesday, February 16, 2021. Click here for register here. Okay, info for the class, click right here, enroll on the blue button. And then once you enroll, you can start watching the content, all right? And You can start watching Bishop Greg Davis is up. Okay. And we had Tuesday, we're going to be joined by Sister Nubia Wardford, cultural anthropologist. Okay. So it's going to be a great class. All right. So check out the rest of this article here. Let's go back to it quickly here. We're going to squeeze in George Floyd. We'll deal with Dr. Carl G. Woodson some more on tomorrow's show. It's been a busy day. So political battles have long been fought largely in education boards over how American students learn about everything from the Civil War to ethnic studies and health, but proposed legislation that would penalize schools for teaching curriculums based on the 1619 project signals a new era of policy debate over civics education that may increasingly play out in state legislatures. The project, which was first published in the New York Times Magazine in 2019, and for which its creator, Nicole Hannah-Jones, won the Pulitzer Prize for commentary, marked the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first known enslaved Africans in the British colonies that became the U.S. It includes audio, essays, poems, graphics, etc. All right, that reframe the legacy of slavery in contemporary American life, arguing that Black Americans are the foundation of U.S. democracy. Now, the Pulitzer Center, in partnership with the 1619 Project, has made available related lesson planning and says more than 4,000 educators from all 50 states have reported using its resources. While some historians have criticized parts of the project, the New York Times has stood behind it. A more recent editor's note further defending the project acknowledges that the newsroom's separate opinions section has published pieces against it, and other historians have praised the project's approach and rigor and treatment of the role of white supremacy in U.S. history. Experts in history criticize Republican legislators for supporting bills that make such an overt move to force teachers to gloss over parts of U.S. history. It comes after a year in which many Americans have protested systemic racism with U.S. institutions, and education has not been immune from the conversation. Top Republicans, including Donald Trump, have expressed support for nationalist or white nationalist propaganda, as well as the preservation of racist monuments, Confederate monuments. Okay, all this ties to being ignorant of history. All right, so check out the rest of this. We'll talk about this some more on upcoming shows. Republican state lawmakers want to punish schools that teach the 1619 Project. Okay, this is by Barbara Rodriguez. USA Today originally appeared at the 19th, February 10th, 2021. Okay, so check out that article. And then we're going to squeeze this one in here, dealing with George Floyd. We'll get to one dealing with George Floyd, and we'll have to do another one tomorrow. So dealing with there's an update in the George Floyd case. So we found out that Attorney General William Barr rejected a plea deal with Derek Chauvin, the officer accused of killing George Floyd. Former Attorney General William Barr. News1.com has an article about this, as well as NBC News. News1 picked up the article from NBC News. AG Barr quashed plea deal by fired officer Derek Chauvin in George Floyd death. As part of the failed deal, Derek Chauvin was willing to go to jail for more than 10 years. As part of the failed deal, Derek Chauvin was willing to go to jail for more than 10 years. The fired Minneapolis police officer who held his knee on George Floyd's neck agreed to plead guilty to third-degree murder days after Floyd's death, but then Attorney General William Barr rejected the plea. Derek Chauvin and 3 other officers involved were fired days after George Floyd's death on May 25th and later arrested. Derek Chauvin faces second-degree murder charges and is scheduled for trial in March 2021. The other 3 are charged with aiding and abetting and are to be tried together in the summer. Now, the details of the failed deal were first reported by the New York Times. A former Justice Department official confirmed the failed deal to NBC News, saying that both politically appointed and career Department of Justice officials had rejected the idea. Both politically appointed and career Department of Justice officials had rejected the deal. Quote, his lawyers were trying to rush us, and we didn't want to be rushed. Now, Derek Chauvin's lawyer, Eric Nelson, declined to comment on Thursday for this article. A spokesperson for the Minnesota Attorney General, Keith Ellison, who is leading the prosecution, said he could not comment because it covers a period before Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison was assigned to the case. All right. Now, Lacey Severance, a spokeswoman for the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, which was handling the case at the time, said, as is typical in many cases, early negotiations can occur between all relevant parties involved. Many times, a defendant will explore their options with a negotiation. It is also common of these types of discussions to happen in the beginning of a case and then have no agreed upon negotiations develop. This case was no different. Negotiations were discussed, nothing developed. All right. Okay, check out the rest of this article here from NBC News. AG Barr quashed plea deal by fired Officer Derek Chauvin in George Floyd death. And on tomorrow's show, we'll deal with this other story dealing with jail guards being segregated. Jail guards segregated away from George Floyd's accused murderer, sue for racial discrimination. Okay, we'll talk about that on Friday's show, and we'll talk some more about Dr. Carter G. Woodson and the origins of African American History Month. Start out as Negro History Week, February 7th, 1926. All right. Hey, if you'd like this type of information, also you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App. Then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. That helps us keep broadcasting 6 days a week, keep doing the research, pay some of the bills, etc. You can also register for our online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. 8-week, 16-hour online course. Register at our website. As soon as you register, you start watching the content. And our class will be Tuesday. We'll see you in class Tuesday, February 16th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, we have to get out of here. Remember, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace.